So some people travel purely for the scenery,
Yes.
regardless of whether there's people there or not.
Yes.
But you're almost exactly the opposite.
True.
Regardless of the scenery, as long as there's a community of
Yes.
people, that's what makes it interesting.
Absolutely. And funnily enough, I think everyone actually, I think even people that, if people are travelling for the scenery, I think it's because they want to get away from it all. And I have times like that in my life. I'd love to come here and just shoot the scenery, because what an amazing, quiet life that would be. Unchallenging. You'd never be challenged by never have to reach out to people, you never have to broker relationships with people. And I think people do that, especially photographers, when they want to go inside. But I don't think, you know, our world, I mean, I say our world, the human world is too fascinating to me. And coming to anywhere, no matter how amazing it is, if there's no human element there, I'm not super interested in it, because I don't relate to it in a human way. I love beautiful scenery and I love the mountains and the oceans and deserts and everything, but I need a human element to spice it up and make it relevant to me, because we're an incredible species and we've proved it. I know we are somewhat of a destructive species, but I don't think that's anyone's fault. I think that's Mother Nature's fault, because we were programmed genetically to spread and succeed around the planet, and we've done it in the most incredible way. You know, we're the only species that's managed to colonise every habitat on the planet, pretty much. Even, you know, the Antarctic now. We've got people living down on the ice shelf there. I mean, it's completely inhospitable, but we've managed to work a way to live and work there, you know. And you can't deny that's an incredible, you know, feat of achievement. The downside, of course, is we can't stop ourselves, we can't help ourselves. We're all, I think, especially a lot of the people I know, we're all incredibly nomadic. We've got this nomadic gene inside ourselves, and we can't deny it. It's there in the background, fluttering around, because we all love travel, and the movement is exciting. The moment you sit in a car or the train, or you set off on a hike, you get that excitement. And it's about, where are you going? You know, like, where are we going to end up? And I think that was put inside us 150,000 years ago, specifically to send us out into the world to kind of colonise the world. And it's still there, and that's what everyone who loves travel has got, myself included. It's innate. It's in our genes, I think. No, I'm a big believer in that. And, you know, it's easy to blame us all for what we've done to the earth, because it is our fault. But we're kind of, you know, we can't help ourselves. We're doing what we were programmed to do, and I don't think Mother Nature gave us the tools to comprehend the earth as a whole. That's the problem we have. We understand how to be empathic amongst our sort of locality. You know, I suppose it goes back to a time when we probably only knew 50 people. You know, there was a time in our historic past where people only ever met about another 50 or 60 people. And now we're at that point where we're supposed to suddenly accept that we're part of 6 billion, we're a tribe of 6 billion or whatever, and more. It'll be 7, 8, 9 billion. And I'm not 100% sure that we're programmed to be able to do that. You know, I certainly can't. I can watch the news about what's happening in Syria, for example, or on the other side of the world, and I feel a bit of empathy, but I'm not rushing on a plane to get out there and sort it, because in all honesty, I'd rather help my neighbour, who's a 65-year-old woman who has no one to live with, had no one to have Christmas lunch with.
Rely on.
But the interesting thing around here is you hear, even from Nurka and everyone, they're Kazakh. Within their tribe of Kazakhs, there are 12 tribes. If you're one of those tribes, say Nurka's tribe, that means that people that are not even your distant cousins are your brothers and sisters because of that. And that is something we've definitely lost. You know, there are many cultures around the world where you call someone a brother or a sister, and it may seem a little bit flippant and superficial, but when you actually live with those cultures, you realise they actually really do mean that. It has a connotation. For us, it's like, hey, bro, you know, but there's little depth to it. But to many people, it's incredibly important and real, and the way that you in many cultures people refer to anyone older than them as father. There's no word to describe that person other than as a father. You don't call them a grown-up, you know, or an uncle or whatever. There's father or mother, and if they're older than you, that's what you'd say. And I love stuff like that. I wish we could coax that into being where we live, because I've got kids now, and that's how they are. They'd love to be like that. Kids that grow up in a community where they have 100 brothers and sisters and 50 mothers and fathers, they're happy kids. And you can see that because these kids work incredibly hard, don't play a hell of a lot, but they're just like dream kids, polite, hard-working, fun when it needs to be, very uncynical, as everyone is here. And it's such a shame that back home we've just subscribed to this cynicism about everything, because it's just a waste of life sometimes, because here the lack of cynicism is so refreshing, and no one's being ironic. It's just if they're smiling and happy to see you, that's because they feel it. There's no ulterior motive there, and I hope it never changes, and I hope our culture loses its cynicism.
You see those people live in remote place, but the children start to go to university, they have an iPhone, they want to become English teachers and so on, they want to travel. So how do you see the evolution?
The only thing I could ever predict with any degree of, you know, conviction is that the change will happen in the cultures which are already part of the world. I think it's inevitable that someone who lives in a place like this, who discovers the rest of the world, it's inevitable that they'll want to go there and see it. I think what happens is a process that after that, I don't think you can deny anyone that experience, because it's innate in us. Like I say, we're innate travellers. We left for a reason, and whatever that reason was, a part of it was that we were looking for new places to go. And, you know, 150,000 years later, we're here. We're all over the world. We've done incredibly well. So that's innate, and you can't deny someone living in a beautiful place like this to not explore. But I think then, like I said, I from my own personal journey, I went out and I explored, and in the end, I came home. And I think that's possibly what may happen on a global scale. I don't know. Once everyone understands that, you know, once all the questions have been answered, once we've our wanderlust has been satisfied to a degree, I think people then kind of find their peace, and it's like, okay, I need to make my route somewhere.
You haven't travelled, obviously, anything like you have, but the further you go, the more you see self-sufficiency in young children.
Yes. Yes.
And you think back, you put that situation in our environment, and it'd be child abuse.
Yeah.
But the kids must presumably grow up so much stronger for it.
Yeah.
Well, it appears so. I mean,
So responsible.
there are a lot of very respectful, mature, you know, nice kids. They're nice kids, aren't they? They're great kids. They're really great kids. So there must be something in it, whatever that is. There's definitely something in it. You don't find many brats around here, and I think we all understand why that kind of personality develops in a kid. It's when they're spoilt, you know, and you know, there's no room for spoiling kids here. They work from a very young age, but you know, I think back home we think working is wrong, is bad, but here working is solidifying your bonds within the community, and it's part of life. It's part of your identity here. You know, a 9-year-old kid out on a horse herding goats all day. It's very easy to look at that and go, poor kid, he's missing out on his childhood. But he's part of something, you know, and he feels that. And he goes through all those same stages in life, and he'll one day want to feel like he's a man. And it happens no sooner or later than kids back home, I'm pretty sure. It's just a slightly different scenario. There's more room for play at home than there is for here, but I think we possibly over-exaggerate the importance of play, because, as you can see here, there's less play amongst children than at home, but everyone seems to be doing pretty good. And the kids are growing up into great adults.